What's up, guys? Today we're going to settle a debate. How do you decide between our two most popular traditional fireplaces? Should you buy the Napoleon Altitude series or the Elevation series? Let's get started. So today we're trying to decide, we've been getting a lot of requests for this video. Napoleon a little while ago came out with two new fireplaces, the Altitude and then the upgraded Elevation. A lot of our customers have been asking what is the difference between the two, so we thought we needed to do a versus video. Right here are the two Altitude models I want to show you and talk to you about. Then we'll go over to the Elevation and explain the differences. Before we get into this video though, make sure you guys subscribe. It helps out our channel a ton. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It really helps out and helps support our YouTube channel so we can continue to make videos like this. Also, if you're in the Denver metro area, come down to our showroom and see these products for yourself. We'll include links in the description below for all these models if you want to browse our website or check them out online as well. So here's the two Altitudes. We'll kind of start with the Altitude. We're not going to go crazy in depth. I do have in-depth in videos, which we'll include in the description. Again, if you want to see those. Essentially comes in two sizes. So we have a 36-inch here and a 42-inch. So one of the reasons the Altitude has become the best seller is a lot of aesthetic choices between logs, panels, fronts, and then it comes with a lot of features standard for a very affordable price. So what comes standard with it? Well, you're going to get Bluetooth controls, you're going to get a handheld remote control, and then you're also going to get a top light, and then a blower is pre-installed as well. So you can run this off your app or your remote control, and we'll show you some of the features between the two. Again, it comes in the two sizes. What's really cool is the front. So this is the 42 with no front on it. So you don't have to purchase a front. So this would be sort of their frameless option. You can see it does have a little bit of a bezel right here, but not a whole lot going on. And then this would be one of the more ornate fronts. So there are finishing trims you can get, but this is one of the arch fronts with the nickel accents if you wanted something a little more ornate. So you can see a lot of versatility on the outside on the frame as well, but nice big viewing area. That's the thing about them, is a nice clean face design, which is really cool. All right, let's get inside the fireplace a little bit. So they do have a standard H burner, and probably one of the best features with the Altitude series is, in times past, a lot of customers really like a fireplace, but they maybe hate the log set. They like everything about it except the logs. So what these guys offer is 4 different log choices. So we have 2 of them shown here. This is the driftwood log set. We'll give you a close-up of that. And then this is the birch log. So you can see 2 totally different looks. So you can sort of transform this into the look, personalize it to exactly how you want it. And same with the panels on the inside, a lot of choices there. You can see that this has the gray herringbone. You can get the gray in a stacked panel. You can do a Newport, which is more like a traditional panel. We'll show you that we have in the Elevation. And then we have the black reflective panels that are in here. And then also, there's some other red colors, a couple things like that. You can check those out as well. And then we also have a split oak log set and a maple log set. So we'll show you pictures of those. So the combinations are endless of how you want to mix and match these. So that's what's really cool, is you can customize exactly how you want. You can see too, what's really cool is the Altitude is kind of tapered, has more of a strong taper to the unit, so it sort of makes it triangular a little bit. Now this looks really cool on the 36-inch that we have here with the porcelain panels. Because of that hard taper, you can see that it really does an awesome job of reflecting the fire. So I do think the porcelain panels are an excellent choice in the Altitude because of all that reflection that you're getting. One thing I will say, it's not a huge deal, but you can see between these two, the 36-inch, the flame sort of fills up the box more. You can kind of see you get a little more empty space on the 42, and that's just because your window space is so much larger. So the trade-off is you get a nice big window, but the fire doesn't quite fill up the box as much, which isn't always a huge deal because a lot of times these fireplaces are going to be off. And then what's really cool is from the remote, you can control your flame height, you can control your fan speed, so you can turn the fan up. You can control the top nightlight, so we'll turn the nightlight on so I can show you here. The Altitude comes equipped with a top nightlight. And let me shut the flame off so you can see. So there's the flame off. So you can see even with the flame off, we have that top mood light, which is gonna shine down on the logs. And I think that looks pretty good. So that'd look really good in the summertime or when you don't want heat. These are nice heaters, so they are gonna be in, in the mid 30s as far as BTU output. So they're definitely good heaters. I'm trying to think, I think that pretty much covers the Altitude pretty well. So now let's go over to the elevation and we'll just talk about, there's a lot of features that are similar on the elevation, but let's talk about what you get with the elevation. Let's talk about the upgrades there. Okay, so this is the elevation. We have this installed as a 42 inch and it just feels bigger. You can see the window size and the fronts are the exact same between the Altitude and the elevation. This is the 42 inch. Sort of an optical illusion, but it's the same window size. All the fronts are the same. So the window sizes and the fronts between the Altitude and elevation are absolutely identical. This is an example of a charcoal trim. If you wanted a finishing trim, just gives you a little more wider look. That's part of the reason it looks a little bigger. And you can see as we get into the differences, I just wanted to show you this. This is the split oak log with the Newport panels. I would say that combination is probably the most traditional looking. Like if you wanted a super traditional look, this is a pretty cool combination. The other thing is you notice right away a big difference with the elevation. See that back wall? That back wall is so much wider. So the Altitude is more tapered, more like a triangle. This is a little more flexed out. So it still has a taper, but it's a little more squared off. So that back wall is wider. And then also our fireplace is deeper this way. So that wide wall and that back depth makes it, I think, look more like a fuller, richer fireplace. The trade-off is you need more space for the elevation. So if you're in a tight space, I'd probably stick with the Altitude. But if you have plenty of framing space before the two, the elevation's pretty sweet. The other big difference is you can see with the logs here, that Altitude has an H burner that sits on the floor. The elevation has an actual raised burner like this. So in the front, our burner is raised up 3 or 4 inches, and in the back, that burner is probably 6 or 7. So what this does, it gets the fire up off the floor, and then our logs, even though the log bark is the same size between the elevation and or not the same size, the same color, same finish as the Altitude, the actual physical logs themselves are beefier. So you can see this is a fuller, richer log set. And then it really fills up the space because it's up off the ground. So our whole burner's up off the ground. On top of that, our burner and BTU output is higher. Now, from a performance difference, one, this is gonna allow more heat, but also what Napoleon did on the elevation is we have a split flow valve. So what that means is, I'll show you here, is you can go over to your remote and you can shut off the rear burner. So and then I can go over to the front burner and turn the front burner down. So what this allows us to do is it gives us much greater flexibility in our turn down range. Now, I do think this is a helpful feature, especially if you're in a more mild climate where you don't always want it blasting. The ability to turn the fireplace down lower is pretty sweet. So that's a nice upgrade on the elevation. You can pop that back on. Also, as far as features, same standard features, same remote system, same Bluetooth control, same blower system. That's all pre-installed on the elevation, so no differences there. And then one other feature that we want to make sure we hit on is going to be our lighting system. So the Altitude has a top light. The elevation is reversed. So you can see I have an LED ember strip that sort of hits all 3 layers back and behind there. And then you can control that. You can turn that on or off if you want. You can see we put like some crushed glass or some lava rock over it. That way it just doesn't look like a big LED square. And I definitely think it does a good job. It definitely helps make it sort of look a little more realistic, like you have a realistic ember bed in there. And then what's cool about the back walls, we'll give you a close-up. This is where I really like the panels over the reflective panels, the brick panels, I should say, is those night lights shine up on those panels and you start to see that depth of the fire brick, if that makes sense. The porcelain panels, you don't see that quite as good on the elevation. So if you really are into the LED lights, they look better with any of the brick panels as opposed to the porcelain reflective. If you're not into the LED lights, who cares? Doesn't matter, right? It's the love-hate thing. Some customers absolutely love, they buy a fireplace just for LED lights, and some don't care at all about them. So it's just up to you what you like. So let me turn the flame back on. So let's just go over it again to sort of summarize let's talk about what's the same, and let's talk about what's different. What's gonna be the same between the altitude and elevation is the window size, the front and finishes, the panels, and the log color bark choices. All the options are the same as far as the type of logs you like, the panels you like, the fronts you like, the window size, that's all identical. Blower, remote control, Bluetooth control, all the same. That's all the same between them. What's different? What upgrades do you get with the elevation? The elevation, you get upgraded beefier logs. You get a burner that is raised, sits up off the floor. We have the LED ember strip, a deeper firebox, and the ability to control a split flow valve, so the elevation is actually going to perform better because we can turn it down lower. So that's really the difference. As I'm saying, I'm realizing, wow, that's actually quite a few differences. So the question is which one do you buy? Obviously, in my opinion, the elevation's nicer. I think it looks better, but of course, it's not in everybody's budget. And so I think if you're budget conscious, the Altitude's probably our best seller. Hands down, I think it's the most amount of fireplace for the dollar pretty easily. But if you can sort of spring for it, the elevation is also pretty affordable for what you get. Some of the competitors that also offer these same features are $2,000 or $3,000 more. So the elevation is still a great value within that premium category, if that makes sense. So hopefully that clears up some confusion for you. What we see a lot, also a helpful tip, if you're doing multiple units, we see this combination a lot. We see customers putting the elevation in a great room or a living room, using the elevation as a main focal point of the living space. And then in a secondary space where they're putting a second gas fireplace, like a bedroom or a sitting room or something like that, where there's not gonna be as many people, that's where they would put in the Altitude. So that's a nice little 1-2 punch. If you're looking for multiple units, I would probably go that route. If you're trying to save some money, is go elevation and altitude. You might as well just buy two, right? Can't hurt. That's what we say here at Embers. Okay, so I'm getting out of control here. So that's the end of this video. I better wrap it up. My camera guy's telling me I'm taking too long. Don't forget, if you're in the Denver metro area, come down to our showroom, check these out in person. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Thanks so much.